It's shocking to see how Jerusalem has expanded and changed through the centuries. And today, there's not just one faith tradition here, but three. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all share the skyline and story of Jerusalem. God chose Jerusalem's location even though it lacked the advantages of most capital cities. But what made Jerusalem distinct from every other city in the world was God's presence in this space. If Jerusalem is the center of the land of promise, this is its beating heart. You can feel the life of Jerusalem here, and it's always been this way. It's because the Lord chose this place, making something that it wasn't before into something extraordinary, the place where the Almighty God dwelt and lived in a special way. The Temple of Solomon, built exactly where we see the golden dome of the rock behind us, is that place. He put a building on this piece of property so that he could live in this space. And through that building, in this space, he sent a message to the world that he gave in no other location. He said, "I am one, and I am with you." God says, "I am one," because he says, "I just need one temple." In the ancient Near Eastern world, there were many deities, and so the hills were peppered with temples. Not here. One temple, one God. The moment that temple was founded, at the time of Solomon, the divine presence came down in the form of a fire and filled the place. It was how God says, "I am present with you," in a unique fashion. Certainly, God is present everywhere all the time. I believe that. But here in this place, he said, "I'm present here," in a unique way. The ancient Near Eastern world had never heard of such powerful things. And the only way in which God was going to get that news out was to choose to do it through a people and place. And it is through the people of this land, through that place, that these unique things get said. God's presence gave Jerusalem its voice and its mission. I want to take you to where the temple once stood and where people from all nations still come to remember God's presence today. But to get there, we need to cut through the old city streets. First thing for me, when I walk into the old city, is the smell, the spices and the aromas of all of the different foods being made here that I don't smell at home. I know I'm in the Middle East when I'm in the old city. Morning. How are you? I wonder if my friend Zach is here.
John, hey, how are you?
How are you, brother?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you? Zach has antiquities. What's the oldest piece from Old Testament, Zach, that you have in here that you're not going to let me hold? Because if it's at all fragile, I don't want to destroy an irreplaceable item. Oh, we're going into the lock cabinet. Oh, wow, look at this. A pillar figurine, yes?
Yes. This is the god of Ashtaroth. You know Ashtara? You know, it's beheaded.
Ashtara.
Talking Iron Age.
Yeah. So the
1200
time of
BC.
Saul, David, Solomon,
Yes.
and beyond a little bit. Folks, we've been talking about this very thing. Remember that God called his people to give a unique understanding of him to the rest of the world, and this is the understanding of the divine that the rest of the world brought to God's people.
And you can see it's beheaded. So probably the Israelites cut the head.
Helping the world understand there is one God rather than God is many. Zach, thank you so much
You're
for
most welcome.
giving
Thank
us
you.
time, brother. Most of the Jerusalem city streets we're walking on, even here in the old city, are probably a good 8 to 10 feet above where Jerusalem of Bible times was. But all these pavers make the place feel old, and it's certainly the same kind of streets that people would have walked in Bible times.
Hey!
How are you doing, man? Good to see you. How you doing? I'm good, thanks. Very nice to see you. Dad is still working?
Yes.
Shaban.
We never retire. No,
How are you, brother?
I am good.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Shaban is one of my oldest friends in the old city, and a very connected member of the Muslim community here. Thank you.
Small break.
We're on break. We're on break.
And also let me to bring with you baklava.
And baklava. Well, I don't know if we can do the whole baklava and
No, it's good.
Jewish thing. I know, it's amazing. You've got to love it. This kind of hospitality is not mere formality. It's warm, heartfelt, and sincere. It says, you are welcome here.
As much as I love this country and as much as I love Jerusalem, I know the other religions have the same love for the city, so we have to share it more than to fight for it.
Our Jerusalem stories overlap here, don't they?
Yes,
I mean,
certainly.
it's not like there's three different Jerusalem stories.
No, it's still
There's
the same
one Jerusalem story, and we
story.
all grab a little side of it, right? Whether we're Christian or Muslim or Jewish, we all have a little part of it. Yeah. It is so wonderful to see you.
You too.
I'm so excited to have a chance to see you today. Thank you, guys. You know, when I walk through the markets, there's this sense of the old meeting the new, the West meeting the East. The languages are clearly not the languages I hear at home. And almost immediately I'm transported from sort of the Western world I live into the Middle East. It's so hard for me to walk through Jerusalem without seeing friends. So it's so good to see you. I have to tell you, because you'll appreciate this context, in the last 30 minutes that I've walked here, I've met a Christian friend, a Muslim friend, and now an observant Jewish friend.
That's what it's all about.
And that's
Jerusalem, isn't
Jerusalem. That is Jerusalem's old city, and
That's what it's all about.
That's my experience here, brother.
it? We've known each other for years already. We're good friends.
Everybody keeps saying that I'm meeting here, and I'm feeling older as I walk the street. No,
It's just we're getting blonder. That's all.
we're getting blonder. It's so good to see you,
Nice
brother.
seeing you.
Dove, take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
I come to Jerusalem to tell its stories, and as I come to tell its stories, I find that my story, Jerusalem stories, are made up of this fabric of people that are here. You've just met in the last few minutes a Christian, a Muslim, and an observant Jewish gentleman, all of whom I have a long-term relationship with here. That's Jerusalem. God used Jerusalem to speak not only to ancient Israel, but to the rest of the world as well. Today, people still come to remember the temple. This is the western retaining wall that supported the temple plaza above. Worshippers want to be as close as they can to where the temple once stood. Many write prayers and tuck them into the wall in an act of faith that here they will be heard. I've seen people come into this space during very different seasons of life and watched how the Lord used what Jerusalem is all about to minister to them. One was shortly after my dad was diagnosed with cancer. And it was his dream to come here. And it was the last trip we shared. Little did I know that, just within months after our time together here, he would go on to be with the Lord. And so I saw the Lord get him ready for his passing in this place. The brokenness of this world is not a space any of us wants us to stay in or live forever. In those moments, Jerusalem is not just a place, it is a message of peace and hope and joy, and it is restorative. It's a place that touches people at a level deeper than the cognitive. It goes to the heart. There's something different about this place. I'm really in the presence of God in some unique ways. There's a proximity to the Almighty here that makes the place different than any place else. It's stunning. To think that God's presence was right here. A presence that offered forgiveness to the world. That is what made Jerusalem's stories unique. Think about it. What a privilege it was to approach a holy God here. And it seemed like God's presence in Jerusalem would last forever.